Hey everybody, I'm excited. I got my friend Jell-O joining. If you follow the podcast, there's no doubt in my mind that you have heard of the Fighter Pilot podcast. That's probably how you found the Afterburn podcast. But I have Vincent Jell-O Aiello here today, and we're in the middle of our seed series. But I think this is important, and I wanted to get on here because you have some exciting news. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
I certainly do, Rain. And first off, thanks for having me. And it's fun to join you and your listeners and viewers here. I do have some exciting news. I have been for 5 years working on my memoir, and it is due out April 1st, 2025. It's called Through the Yellow Visor: The Life and Misadventures, MIS is in parentheses just for fun, the life and misadventures of a U.S. Navy fighter pilot. It's my origination story from my first air show at 8 years old, probably a similar story to you. Became infatuated with aviation and found my way through. Wasn't all easy, unlike what you see in Hollywood. And then all the stops along the way, and then ends at the end of my career. So it was fun to write.
Yeah, it looks like it. And just seeing some of the highlights from the book, I mean, obviously, the inspiration joining, but F-18, Top Gun, combat deployments, landing on a boat, which again sounds crazy to me. And then, I mean, ultimately, you got to wrap it up flying the greatest fighter ever created, the mighty Viper. So, I mean, quite a career and quite a book.
Indeed. And, I wouldn't say I was some great war hero or anything special compared to the people that do it, right? I'm guessing you would agree with me. I mean, in the circles we run, there are some really, truly American heroes out there. But I had two circles that overlapped that made me want to write my story. One was the podcast. I tried to play it a little bit like Captain Miller from. Golly, I'm drawing a blank. What was it? Saving Private Ryan, when he never tells everyone he's a teacher until he needed to. But I have this audience, and I have this amazing story at the end of the book where I had a rather life-threatening medical condition that I not only overcame, but got back in the cockpit. So those circles overlapped, and I thought this will be a book that I hope inspires people and tells them a little more of my story like Captain Miller.
I have no doubt it will. And again, for those who are interested, that book should be out now when they hear this, but April 1st, 2025, the book is out. I would like to highlight the yellow visor. That's one thing that you don't see that often, especially in today's world with the HIMIT and JHIMICs and things like that. But that high contrast visor, which is iconic for the fighter pilot podcast you see around. Tell me about the visor. Did you always fly with a high contrast visor?
No, and not to over promote the book, but that story's in the book, of course.
Okay.
In my first tour as a young lieutenant flying F-18s, there was another pilot who used a yellow visor in all conditions. It was particularly useful if it was overcast or low light.
Yeah.
Certainly at night, you'd wear clear. And to your point, I never wore the joint helmet or flew any of the F-35 or any of those exciting airplanes where you had to wear the whatever helmet they've got these days. So our basic helmet had different visor options, clear at night, dark during the day. And this particular fellow, Speedy, wore yellow, and we were all sitting around needling him about that one day. He goes, "No, guys, you got to try it." He goes, "Jell-O, you should go try it." I'm like, hey, if something can give me a little advantage, sure, I'll try it. And I'm
Awesome.
glad I did because I got used to it, and I never bumped into Speedy again throughout our careers. But very few, to your point, Rain, pilots wear the yellow visor, particularly all the time in bright sunlight or whatever. So for me, it became a calling card. And I'm glad it did because I didn't know at the time I would start a podcast. But it's sort of, like you said, iconic for the show. And so it was just one of those serendipitous things that is unique to me, I guess, and unique to the show.
Yeah, love it. All right. So those who are interested in finding the book, where can they find it?
Yeah, it is self-published, so Amazon is your best bet. However, if you would like a personalized copy, you can go to fighterpilotpodcast.com. It should be splattered all over it, I'm sure, the website there. That's for our podcast anyway, but it also has a landing page for the book, and you can order a personalized copy there and be glad to send it to you, addressed to you, and I hope you enjoy it. And if people read it and do, please, if they'll leave an honest review on Amazon, that would help get the word out. And, I'm not necessarily expecting Rain to make the New York Times bestseller or whatever else. And honestly, I don't need it to put food on the table, but when you put 5 years of effort into something, right, you want to see it do well. So of course I'm going to promote the book, and I think it will encourage and inspire people. And one of my big takeaways from this as well is that I'm just probably like you, trying to still, I do it with my podcast too, just break down those Hollywood stereotypes that not all fighter pilots are like Maverick and Rooster and all those guys. We're real humans, and we're not all like that.
I don't know if I believe that. I just still think every Navy guy is out there playing volleyball on the beach. But, you have to check out the book, and so everyone can find that out. So I will have that link down below. Again, Jell-O, I'm excited for this for you. I mean, again, that's no small undertaking, and excited to sit down and we're going to dig into your career and your life here in the podcast episode, which if you're listening to this now, you'll hear it out in a couple of weeks once we wrap up our seed series. So Jell-O, congrats and excited for you.
Thank you, Rain.